Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about what just happened on Monday Night Raw's main event, specifically the match that just happened, and that is Becky Lynch has won the WWE Women's World Heavyweight Championship. She won it in a vacated battle royal, over the top battle royal. They did this for the main event, and I'm very happy that Becky Lynch won the title. I think she deserved it, but I'm really starting to question, and I'm really starting to really question, like, how WWE's booking stuff now. Now, we are in unknown territory because this is Triple H's running the show now. So, I mean, there is definitely a learning curve on how Triple H is booking certain things and how he books certain situations with, certain matches. But with this specific decision, I am really wondering, from a storyline perspective, why Becky Lynch did not beat Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. I really thought, as you guys knew, I felt very strongly that Becky Lynch was beating Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. And I wasn't just, doing that just because I was a fan of Becky Lynch. Like, I really felt Becky Lynch was going to beat Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. I really felt it. I know a lot of people really felt strongly about Rhea Ripley retaining. I didn't. I thought this was, Rhea Ripley had the title for an entire year. I thought this was the perfect time for her to lose the title to Becky Lynch and then kind of move on to the point where she now continues to chase the title, maybe go to the other brand and possibly become a contender for the other title. That was my whole line of thinking at the time. That, and also it goes into the other thing I was thinking was, like, who else is going to beat Rhea Ripley? You know what I'm saying? Like, she had beaten almost the entire roster by that point. It's like, who else would she have been able to beat other than Becky Lynch? Who else would have been able to beat Rhea Ripley other than Becky Lynch? I was like, this is the perfect time for Becky Lynch to go over and win the match. Now, of course, she did have, they did say that Becky Lynch legitimately had some type of fever, and, kudos to her for, powering through and still wrestling the match at WrestleMania 40, but, I just don't understand why she didn't go over, especially since they're now pivoting to Becky Lynch winning here. Now, of course, obviously no one could have predicted that Rhea Ripley was going to legitimately get injured, especially in a backstage segment, but it just also proves to the point that, injuries can happen, unfortunately, at any time, and it sucks. We've seen it with Daniel Bryan. We've seen it with Batista back in the day. Edge, it happened to Edge. Actually, it happened to Edge a few times, actually. But it unfortunately happens, and it sucks when it does, because it does, you do have to change things around when it does happen. But I'm just really puzzled at where they were exactly going, because obviously they did Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 40 because that was the best match you could do for WrestleMania. Have Becky Lynch, who is kind of like the main women wrestler, first person to ever main event WrestleMania, in the last WrestleMania that only had one night, by the way. She is, like, really the first marquee woman wrestler in that whole thing where she can main event a pay-per-view. Obviously, there was Trish Stratus, but obviously Trish Stratus never main evented WrestleMania. She main evented a Monday Night Raw, but she never main evented a WrestleMania. And obviously I like Trish Stratus too, but, you get my point. Becky was really the first, marquee, woman wrestler in that sense of, she being in, main event pay-per-views and stuff like that. So there is a connection, and so that's why I thought, like, in a storyline booking, who else could have beat Rhea Ripley other than Becky Lynch? Who could have credibly beaten Rhea Ripley other than Becky Lynch? And this is where my whole mindset was going into WrestleMania 40, is who else is going to beat her? You know, obviously it seemed like after she won against Becky Lynch, the plan was for Liv Morgan to face Rhea Ripley at Backlash, or at least it seemed that was the way they were going. We'll never know for sure, but based on the backstage segment they did, which led to Rhea Ripley's injury, by the way, that was what they were going to do. But I don't know if that would have led to Liv Morgan winning. I don't think Liv Morgan was going to win at Backlash. I don't think she was going to win the title at Backlash if she had faced Rhea Ripley at Backlash. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, who else was left? I think Becky should have just won at WrestleMania, and they could have moved on. She could have had a feud still that wasn't involving the title against Liv Morgan, because Liv Morgan wanted revenge against Rhea Ripley for injuring her in storyline. Actually, she was legitimately injured, but I don't think it was because I don't know if Liv Morgan's injury was because of what happened with Rhea Ripley, but they used that in storyline. But obviously they're doing the same thing here, even though this legitimately happened in the backstage segment between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, where she did legitimately get injured, and now they're using that as a storyline for them when Rhea Ripley gets back. But, you know, I know there's going to be some people that are not going to be happy that Liv Morgan didn't win, because obviously in storyline-wise, it could make a little sense for Liv Morgan to win the title, have it for a couple months before Rhea Ripley comes back and they can settle the feud between the two, because obviously there's animosity there because she got injured by Rhea and now Rhea got injured by Liv. You know, there's that animosity that you can do there. But to me, a storyline like that doesn't necessarily need to be over the title, because obviously they're both not liking each other because they both got injured by one another. You know what I'm saying? So in storyline, it's not really about the title, if that makes sense. It can be for the title, but it doesn't necessarily have to be for the title. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I stand on that. I know there's gonna be some people that are mad about Liv. I like Liv Morgan, but there are some fans on social media that are really obsessed. I will say that. But you know, the whole thing about Liv should have been in the WrestleMania match against Rhea, I disagree with that. Becky Lynch was the better marquee, and that was pretty much that match was planned before even Liv came back. You know, like that was always going to be the match that they were going to do. And even though the booking was not really that good in the lead up to it, they did their best in the beginning before the match was even official, since she hadn't won the chamber match yet when they did their confrontation at the quote unquote press conference, even though it really wasn't a press conference since nobody was asking anything. You know, they were doing good stuff before they officially made the match when Becky won the Elimination Chamber. But, you know, it was kind of piss poor at the, you know, after she got the number one contender match, because they were kind of somehow integrating Liv Morgan into it, you know, because Liv Morgan was still mad at Rhea, but again, it kind of did a disservice to the whole Becky Lynch Rhea storyline, and now you got Liv, and again, you know, there are some people that, like, Becky Lynch hadn't had a main roster title in, like, what, 2 years? Almost, I think it's over 2 years now, and no, I don't count the NXT title because that's not a main roster title. So she hasn't been a main champion in, like, 2 years. So I'm glad that Becky Lynch had won the title here. Again, I really wish it would have just been at WrestleMania like I think it should have been. This is probably going to lead to Becky versus Rhea again at SummerSlam probably, because she'll probably be back around SummerSlam. Maybe sooner, I don't know. They said it was going to be a couple months, so I can't imagine that they don't wait until SummerSlam for this match to do the rematch. Now, if they do that match at SummerSlam, assuming Rhea Ripley is able to come back before SummerSlam to do that match, I imagine that the story is going to be when Becky lost to Rhea Ripley, that, she did have the flu, which, Michael Cole did say that on commentary, that, that's what happened, and that's why, they could use that as the point to why she didn't win, because she wasn't at 100%. Assuming you decide to have Becky Lynch retain against Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam, which I do think they should do. At the same time, there's going to be the argument of, is Rhea more of a babyface than Becky Lynch? Guys, if you watched Monday Night Raw tonight, Becky Lynch was more over than Liv Morgan. Okay, she was being cheered. And it's kind of interesting too, because the way they booked her in this over-the-top battle royal, they kind of booked her the same way they booked Kurt Angle in 06. That's a weird, that's how you know how much I've been watching wrestling for. Like in 2006, when the only difference is obviously Kurt Angle entered as a heel, going into his battle royal match, for the SmackDown vacated title. In 06, he, left Raw and went to SmackDown, and he won the Royal Battle to become the vacated world champion. And he was, kind of pulled out just like Becky Lynch was, where he wasn't thrown over the top rope. He was just pulled over. And that led to Mark Henry beating the crap out of him. And then once it was down to Mark Henry was the only one left in the ring. Kurt Angle would get up and, do his thing, and he would eventually eliminate Mark Henry and win the title. It was kind of booked in that way, where Becky Lynch was pulled out of the ring by Doudrop, and then also Nia Jax was pulled out of the ring by Doudrop, and then Doudrop was basically they basically destroyed our announce table, even though the announce table didn't break. And then she came back in the ring, and it was Nia Jax and Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch, teamed to eliminate Nia Jax. But then, it was between Liv and Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch ultimately won out and eliminated her. Will it be Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch at Backlash? Probably, because Raw. Obviously there's only one more Raw, and the plan was probably for Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. So that's probably the best scenario they can do here. But I am really wondering where Liv Morgan goes. I think Liv has to become a heel at this point. Again, I don't know what they're doing with Rhea Ripley, because Rhea Ripley's kind of in limbo right now. Rhea Ripley is she's kind of in a tweener status at this point. The fans really want to cheer for Rhea Ripley, but at the same time, she's presented as a heel. So she's kind of like Roman Reigns in reverse. She's Roman Reigns in reverse. She is a heel, but the fans really want to cheer her. Where it was the opposite with Roman Reigns when he was doing the big dog shit. So, but at the same time, Becky Lynch is a babyface. And, she still gets massively cheered. I know social media wants to create this propaganda about Becky Lynch, that people want her to, be a heel or whatever. She's not a heel. And she still, when she was a heel, when Becky Lynch was actually a heel, when Vince McMahon forced her to be a heel, literally everybody wanted to cheer for her. If you go back and watch WrestleMania when she went up against Bianca Belair, when she was still a heel, there were more people cheering for her than Bianca. There were more Becky signs out there. You could see, they were trying to, WWE was trying to get signs where they were like showing Bianca, because there were so many people that were cheering for Becky Lynch over Bianca in that match. Like, Becky Lynch is still massively over. Like, I mean, that is undeniable. She is still massively over as a babyface. And if you're going to do Becky and Rhea again at SummerSlam, I don't know how you do it. Because it's like, I mean, that's what I think they're going to do. They're going to do that at SummerSlam. But it's just going to be really tough, because if they're bringing Rhea back as a heel still, with, you know, assuming Judgment Day's still around, if the Judgment Day's still around and she's, you know, and she's going to be a heel still, you know, it's going to be really tough, because the fans are going to kind of be mixed, because that's what they were in Philly. In Philly, it was mixed. If that's what they want to do, power to them. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, again, will that storyline happen at some point? Yes, I do think it will happen, but again, I don't think that storyline necessarily needs to be for the title, because there's personal. Actually, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised actually if Liv actually cost Rhea Ripley the title match against Becky Lynch inadvertently. Like, she doesn't necessarily. Like that's what they might do at SummerSlam. They might do that, where it's like Becky Lynch doesn't want her help. You know, Becky Lynch doesn't realize that Liv assisted her in winning or something like that. You know, that could be something they do for SummerSlam. Like, you know, one of those type of things. Because Becky Lynch, you know, is a baby. Like, they're not turning Becky Lynch heel. They're not turning her heel. Liv, I could see turning heel. They could turn Liv heel, and that could establish Rhea as a babyface. But again, I just don't understand the booking decision right now. Like, if you were going, if Becky Lynch was your backup plan, if she was your backup plan, you know, assuming something happened to Rhea Ripley, I'm really curious to why she just didn't win the title, because then they could have just done a lot of different things, you know, to slowly turn Rhea into a babyface, you know, and having her chase the titles, possibly going to a different brand. Yeah, so I think what's going to happen, assuming she comes back to SummerSlam, Becky Lynch will face her. Becky Lynch will win. You know, Liv will inadvertently help Becky, not to help Becky, but just because she doesn't want Rhea to win. And that will lead to Rhea established as the babyface, and then it will also then lead to Liv turning heel, and then they'll fight. They'll face each other off at the next pay-per-view, whatever that would be after that. That's what I think the plan will be, assuming they do it at SummerSlam. But anyways, what do you guys think about the booking decision here? What do you guys think? Do you guys agree with me? Do you think of something else or any alternatives? Let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate. If you like this video or videos, please subscribe. Make sure to subscribe and all that stuff. Like, comment. And also just remember, Becky Lynch is the man. I'm out. I'm the Ultimate Goku. I'm out of it. Peace. Also, make sure subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow the Twitch. Instagram, and I do have a Discord link where we discuss a lot of various topics. So yeah. Now I'm out. Peace.